Is it too soon to do another one of these? Ah, well, I'm bored, why not? So, today I decided to go again with the streaming service roulette, and, well, see what popped up. And it seems to have a thing for giving me 80s slasher movies, so here we are. And the first one that came up was Sorority House Massacre. Yep, sounds like real classy cinema this time. And, well, how is it? Well, it's Halloween. Good night, everybody. Okay. Should probably give you a little more than that. It's like Halloween with a splash of Nightmare on Elm Street. There, that's it. Okay. So, how is it? Well, it's called Sorority House Massacre. You're only going to get so much mileage with that. But, despite that, it was better than I was expecting it to be. I mean, you have a title like that, it conjures a little bit of what you are probably expecting, and this one delivered a little bit more than that, I will say. Particularly with how kind of surreal it was at times. So, do we have a story here? Sort of. So, Beth is going to college and looking to join a sorority. The aunt she lived with had just passed away, so she's now trying to live on campus. But as soon as she enters the sorority, elsewhere in an asylum, a killer starts, well, freaking out and hedges his escape and begins to stalk the sorority. So, very Halloween except for we have Robert Henkel instead of Michael Myers. And Rob, he ain't no Mike. I mean, this killer does do the strong silent type thing through the majority of it, though occasionally he says the names of, well, not his victims, but who he is envisioning his victims to be, since Robert went to the asylum 13 some years ago after he killed his whole family, including his several sisters. And now he's out and trying to, well, kill everyone who is living in his old house, which happens to be that sorority house. Meanwhile, our main character Beth is having dreams about him. And some decently done, almost Nightmare on Elm Street style nightmares about the initial event, as well as the killer coming for her. And away we go. So this movie's very 80s in terms of, well, everything. Though I will say the score in general was pretty good for when they were doing like the main killer themes for it, so I'll give it points there. Acting is basic slasher movie. It's not terrible, but not great. The characters for the most part are okay. I will say the main girl, Beth, was definitely likable, and you were kind of rooting for her through it, so nothing too bad there. Though I'm still debating whether it was trying to shoehorn in or explaining it decently for the psychic connection she seems to have with the killer, as as she continues having dreams. Several other times during the classes she's going to, they're talking about certain phenomena with like deja vu or precognition experiments for finding your way home or remote sort of homing instincts. So they're kind of working that into some of the dialogue around, as well as they try to analyze her dreams. So if they had spread it out a little bit more, it would seem a little less clumsy, but the fact that they still at least try to include it, this movie was trying to be smarter than anything called Sorority House Massacre really should have been. And with a title like that, well, I was surprised at how it really wasn't as skeevy as the title makes it sound like it's going to be, particularly with the poster of, well, it looks like you're peeking in on a woman changing. Other than one kind of clothes-changing montage that the characters have as sort of a bonding moment, there really isn't too much in this movie in terms of overt sexuality and nudity, other than one girl going off to sleep with someone and get stabbed during it. But that's traditional slasher fare. That happens in everyone, so you can't really emphasize that in this one. Overall, it was a decent offering, though the main problem I had with it happened in the first scene. The opening for the movie did this movie a great disservice. So for a slasher movie, one thing you should not do is have the whole movie be a flashback. In the opening scene, you see the main girl in a hospital bed, and some people asking her what happened, and she starts with, "It all started when I went into that house," and it flashes back. So you know she's going to be okay. The whole movie is from her perspective in flashback, so the fact that she's still there means she should be okay. So the entire time the killer's chasing her, you know she's gonna get away. I mean, sure, everyone else around her might be fair game, but when the main character you know is in little danger, at least until you get back to that point, that was frustrating. So, overall, this movie was much better than I expected it to be. There was nothing other than that was actually a major detraction from it, but it didn't really do anything above and beyond, other than kind of being a Halloween clone. Though the dream sequences and some of the nightmares the character was having that kind of helped illustrate what was going on was, particularly with the creepy little girls that would represent the sisters from the flashback, was very Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was working for me. So I'm giving this one a 3 MacGuffins. I was completely going into this one expecting it to get a 1 or a 2 at best, but I was surprised. This one was much better than it really had any right to be. So, good job. Well, see you next time. Probably not as short in between. I might take a longer break than just a day, but I get bored, and when I get bored, I watch movies, so you might be seeing a lot of me.